So what is trade, and when should you do it? When you start out as a new model, you're going to hear the terms trade, TFP, and TFCD quite a bit. TFP stands for trade for print, and TFCD, trade for CD. What trade means is a photo shoot that is done where both participants get the resulting images and no money is exchanged. This is not a free photo shoot, and it's a very important distinction. A free photo shoot would be one or the other parties working for no compensation whatsoever. A trade shoot is done so that both parties get images that benefit their portfolios. Now that's an important distinction in itself. Most people forget that word, benefit. The images that result need to benefit both parties. Now here's a few ways that that can work. You find somebody whose style you really like, they love your work and want to work with you, and you both shoot in that photographer's typical style for images that will benefit both of your portfolios. One set or many is created and both parties get images from all of the sets done. The other situation that can happen is that you two both like each other's work, but have a different idea of what you need for your portfolios. So you agree to do one concept that works for the photographer that they want for their portfolio, and the photographer agrees to shoot a second concept that you want for your portfolio. That way you both get images that you need and want, and both are benefited. Now where this gets tricky is in a couple of different places. What if both parties don't agree that they would benefit each other? In that case, a polite and respectful decline is in order. You don't want to decline their offer rudely. You don't want to insult them or burn bridges. If you're on the other side, if the photographer is declining you, is turning you down, be respectful and polite about it as well. Ask them to keep you in mind for the future. Go back in a little while, once your port has improved, and ask if they might reconsider. Don't pester them, don't be rude, stay respectful. Now, why is trade necessary? Well, when you start out, it's usually needed to build your portfolio. I don't know of anybody who has been paid for shoots as a freelance model from square one. Your first photo shoot is not going to be paid. Neither statistically are your second, third, fourth, or even up into maybe your 10th. Unless you have phenomenal skills and already really know how to use your body, say gymnast, dancer, acrobatics, anything like that, you're going to take time to learn. Now what's really important here is that you don't just assume that you should be trading with anyone and everyone. You want to be working with the people who have the best skills and portfolios that you have access to right now. So go through whatever portfolio site you are using, find local people who appear amenable to trade, whose work you like and want in your portfolio, and approach them politely and respectfully. Do not assume that they are going to give you a trade shoot. Do not assume that they owe you a trade shoot. Do not assume that they trade with everyone. Ask if they are willing to consider a trade shoot with you. If you don't have something specific you need, say that you're willing to discuss whatever concepts they have in mind, perhaps stating your limits politely if that is something that seems required. Say, if a photographer shoots beautiful clothes work that you'd like in your portfolio, but they also shoot nudes and you don't. In that case, it would be appropriate to send them a nice message saying that you loved their clothes work and would love to work with them, and that you'd be happy to discuss any clothes concepts they have that they would like to shoot. You could add a polite note or a polite line, something along the lines of, please note that I don't shoot nudes and am not interested in those concepts at this time. Don't ever add your limits in all caps or in a way that makes it sound as if you're expecting them to push them. You don't want to be antagonistic. It's a good way to burn bridges and make sure that photographers don't work with you. Now, if you're approached for trade, you really want to take the time to look at a photographer's portfolio. Don't just accept blindly because you like the concept. Make sure that they have the skills to back it up. A good rule of thumb is that a photographer is only as good as their worst image. You should note that this also applies to models. You want to make sure to be constantly improving your portfolio. Don't continue trading with the same photographers over and over again unless they're of a high enough quality that they can continually benefit your portfolio. So if you and a photographer work together repeatedly and use that to grow together, and both of you are improving your skills, that's one thing. Great, keep working with them. That's a great collaborative relationship and they can really help you long term. That way you can turn to that person whenever you have a new concept you want to try. But if the photographers are not growing with you, move on. Find new photographers to trade with. Test the limits of who you thought would work with you. Make sure that you're continually improving to the point where you feel comfortable approaching the person that you really want to trade with but never would have considered approaching when you started out. You want to always be growing. You want to be testing your skills. You want to be testing yourself. You want to be improving and learning constantly. Your portfolio should be evolving and growing with you, as should the quality of the photographers that you work with. Now, of course, you're not going to continue doing only trade forever. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you're accepting paid work. But even after you're accepting paid work, it's important to continue doing trades occasionally. Even if the photographers who are hiring you give you images that you can use in your portfolio, which you should not expect but often happens because they appreciate the publicity that being in your portfolio brings them. Even then, you should have at least one or two people that you can call on when you want to test a concept, try a new pose, try something new, do something special. When you have something that you want to try that you can't do during a paid photo shoot, it helps to have a network of people that you can trade with. Just keep that in mind. Don't assume that trade is only for people who aren't getting hired yet. You want to always have that growth and that learning process and that expansion. And having friends that you can trade with really helps with that. See you next time.